Today, welcome back to another Re-Education Experience podcast. Today, I've got the honor to interview another rock star agent. You're not just going to get me as a solo episode, which, this is going to be a bonus, right? The conversation is almost a year in the making since we met each other down at Real Broker Summit in San Diego last year. I know you were speaking. We were supposed to be on a panel together.
Yep.
Then they gave you your own topic, which was even
Yep.
better.
Mhm.
And I know right from then I was like an eager beaver to just kind of pick your brain, get into this conversation because you're doing so much with it. And so I'll give you guys
Amazing.
some background. I'm not going to tell you her name yet. She is the leader of the Stanbra team down in Jupiter in Palm Beach, Florida. She is a wife. She's incredibly fit. You can tell health is a big part of your life. A proud mother, Army vet. That I didn't know. Outstanding video content creator. And today I'm really lucky to have her on the show discuss things like, of course, content creation, strategies she deploys, the tactics, and just help us all improve ours because she's really got it locked in and dialed in. And you can tell she's having fun with it. So personally, just so you know, I've really admired you from afar.
Thank you.
There's this, I don't know, there's this confidence, this poise, and this almost like relentlessness to what your social journey right now. And again, I think a lot of us could learn a lot from that. It's easy to watch, it's super entertaining. Um, and I'm really excited to just like get into this. Um,
Cool.
so let me introduce you now to Nicole Stanbra herself. Welcome to the
Mhm.
show. What did I miss? Like, what
Thank you.
didn't
No, I mean, that might be one of the best introductions I've ever had. I love it. Those are some really powerful words. And honestly, it means a lot because, when you're creating content and you're building a brand, you hope that people who are watching are feeling that connection and think those thoughts or those words or have those words come to mind when they're kind of introducing or thinking of you. So I love the relentlessness, man. That speaks to my heart right there, because it's true. That's definitely a big part of my mindset when it comes to all things, especially business. So thank you for that introduction very much. And it's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate you. I respect you and your business since the day we met. So I'm just excited to jam a little bit today.
Yeah, I love this. So it's like peak sun hours. We talked about this online. You're down, and so how far would you just be from the water? Can you just tell me? Because I'm a long ways from any water.
Okay. I mean, I'm in my office right now, so I'm a little bit inland, but really only like maybe 2 miles from the beach. I live a block from the beach. So my home, my family, we are beach people. So whether it's a morning stroll or a sunset, time at the beach, we're there most days. And that's part of our life and enjoying. Yes.
Do you think that relentlessness thing that struck a chord with you when I said it is back to kind of your army vet days? Is that part of you, or you mean is it like that stood out, right? I mentioned poise, confidence, but relentlessness. And can you give me a little background to be like
Sure.
to that?
Yeah. The confidence one actually, that even stood out maybe even more because I'm seeing that now as, I mean, I'm in a different season of my life as to when I started real estate or my previous careers and stuff. And I am a mom, right? And so the confidence thing has been something that's gained traction over time. And I'm
Mhm.
now at the point in life where I notice other young women and I see how they, position themselves or handle themselves. And it's so obvious to me. And for me, I find confidence to be the sexiest thing someone can have. It's the way you stand, the way you present, the way you speak, the way you communicate with people. That to me is like, that's what it's all about. And so I'm noticing that much more. I'm much more aware of the confidence side of it, but the relentlessness, I think that's something that, to your point, did come with the Army, but it was also something part of my upbringing, just, a student athlete as a very young age, and just something where I just can't accept no for an answer.
Right.
And that's, I feel like there's always a way, there's always thinking out of the side of the box, coming up with solution, problem solving. I just won't accept a hard no for anything, or just that I can't do something or can't accomplish something. Where there's a will, there's a way. And I'm just nonstop about pushing through to whether it's achieving a goal or, problem solving for an issue. But yeah, so those two words definitely stood out to me.
What was your sport? Just so I know.
Basketball. I was a
Oh,
baller. Like, yeah.
there you go.
Good, I know. I was pretty, but I played all sports growing up, but I played basketball a little bit overseas, and then in college I played. So, and we have a
Oh,
basketball
amazing.
hoop in the backyard. So now I'm trying to train my future ballers, my little kids. So
There you go.
yes.
I was a baller too, but not basketball. I was a volleyball player. So I was a
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I was a setter. I played volleyball in high school a little bit, but when you have to like make the decision what sport you're playing in
totally.
college, you gotta pick one. That's
100%.
cool.
That's I've actually noticed a trend with people that are ultra successful in business and ultra successful running teams like you have. Oftentimes they come from some type of early accolades within a sporting world. They
Mm,
know the power of team, right? They've been a
yes.
part of that. They understand that like 1 + 1 = 3. And does that spill over from your kind of like team days into like how you lead right now in your team?
For sure, like, especially as I'm still learning and navigating being a team lead and managing a team, and that's still something that I work on every single day. But I have found, and again, it evolves like almost day to day. Like, oh, something just clicked for me. The importance of finding people who can formulate a cohesive team, because I have a smaller team. I don't have a huge team. And so every person on my team is maybe even that much more important, because we do roll a little bit tighter, and we kind of model after that SEAL team style.
Yeah.
So everyone has to have a role, and we have to connect and align. And when there's one bad apple, or if there's some toxicity from someone on the team, it really impacts us as a whole. So I'm constantly feeling like I have to be team captain, making sure not that everyone's getting along, but that we're all working towards a common goal, and we are all responsible for our actions and our activity on the team. So that's important. And it also is definitely something that I now screen for when I'm connecting with agents who I'm thinking of joining, letting on the team. Like, have you played team sports? Like, what were your extracurricular activities growing up? Because those early on childhood years are just so important. And I don't think we even knew how important they were, or I didn't, until now I'm in my 40s. And I'm like, man, what a difference from a kid who played sports competitively, was on a team, and how they perform in their life and business now.
Yeah, it's unreal. There's such a link. And I would even say it's even beyond just sports winning. Like somebody's achieved to some level somewhere, like whether they're a pianist or whether they
Yes,
did something. But you
true.
do find, especially in this business, I think, at least from my experience, when somebody's never really excelled beyond average and they think real estate they will, it's a really hard jump. Somebody has had to have achieved some level, whether it's their academics, their guitar playing, their sports, to feel that like upper level
Yes.
somewhere. But if they never have, I think this business kind of eats people up. Do you get that sense at all?
What a great point. Actually, I didn't think of it in that sense, but that's spot on. Because it's true. It's like, to accomplish accolades, or success in something, you had to put a lot of work into it. And
Mhm.
there's that grit, or the relentlessness, or the work ethic, whatever it is, that forms character in someone. And you're not going to be successful at something unless you put in the work. And so I do find, like, one of the challenges that we all see is the entitlement for a lot of agents who are new to the industry, or just expect immediate success without having to put in the work. There has to be some kind of correlation to, I work hard, I become successful. And without that, or without experience or feeling that at some point in your life, that is definitely a disconnect that I think a lot of people struggle with.
How long you been in business now?
2016 was when I was licensed. So just about seven, I guess that makes it about 7 years, 8 years.
8 now, yeah.
Oh
Eight
man,
years. And then when did you turn into team leader? When did that transition happen?
early on, I'd say within a year, I just found, and I did it totally wrong. So like, looking back, I
As
should
we
have.
all do. Yeah.
That's like, oh, I have so much business. I'm going to hire a buyer. I'm going to have a buyer agent. It's always backwards. Even though I had coaches telling me exactly what to do, I just thought I knew better. But I started the team concept early on, and it was mostly because I did hit the ground running very quickly. I was able to generate a lot of business, And I just had my baby. So I had my 2-year-old daughter. I got my license while I was on maternity leave with my son
Mm,
because I was working and I had 3 days maternity leave paid. So I was like, I might as well get my license. And so he was, just a few months old and my business is going. And I'm like, I need someone to hand a lot of this off to. I'm so spread thin. I don't have the bandwidth to do it. And so I just knew I wanted to quickly scale. I didn't want to be just a solo or like a part-time on the side kind of agent. I wanted to make this into an actual business where I run it like a business and a company and have a P&L and I have staff and I have support. Because I just always wanted to operate it as a business, not just
totally.
sell homes.
What's the makeup of the team that you have now? How many agents are with you? And then I know, I mean, you probably staff a videographer, but tell me a little bit about like the breakdown of how, like who's in the mix.
So I have 7 outside agents. Um, I'm number 8, so I'm still heavily in production myself.
Yep.
I have a transaction coordinator. I have an executive assistant. I have my marketing team. And so that consists of my videographer and editor, and then my social media manager. And I'd say that's it for now. I'm still kind of toying with building and growing from there, but that's how we're currently structured.
With this, is there a specialty the team plays into? Do you guys play into geography? Do you play into types of property? Do you play into the niche of the military? Anything specific, or is it right now where there's enough of you that you can capture a whole bunch of niches, right?
I mean, ideally, I had a few years where I feel like I was able to leverage some successes in new construction, luxury, waterfront, because I was working with a developer and I got a lot of great opportunities through that. The market changed, things shifted, less building, a little bit. Think I had to kind of pivot a little bit. The team kind of changed things up. So I'm constantly having to adapt, but I would say we're still heavily into new construction. I think that's just more what the market is dictating here. And we do a lot of coastal, so a lot of beach on the water, type of real estate. But I think also just the way my team is set up, I do have some newer, younger agents. So we do work with a lot of first-time home buyers, which I actually enjoy doing. And we work with a lot of relocation clients who are looking to either move here full time or purchase like an investment or a secondary vacation home. So that's probably
Right.
now I absolutely need to focus more, I think, on military and veteran stuff. For some reason, I just have not tapped into that. And
Right.
that's on my short list of to-do things. So
Yeah,
we're
fair
getting there.
enough. Very
Yeah.
good. So you're in Florida, which is like an envy of all of us selling real estate because everything you put out is so fun and looks like, okay, I would
Yeah,
love to market
beautiful.
this, right?
Yeah.
Is there anywhere that
Oh,
you look around? Because you and I, we have friends across North America now. Is there any market that you
yeah.
kind of see an envy of at all? Just I thought I'd ask you because we're all thinking, oh, I'd love to do what she's doing. But is there anywhere that you're like, that seems fun to me? Or no, it's like, I got
So,
it.
I mean, I would never, I can't imagine living anywhere else in Florida. And I'm from New York. So like, I don't think I'll ever leave Florida because I love it. But when I hear some of my friends, just the price points, the entry point, I'm like, oh my God, like all of our Canadian friends or a lot of our California friends who it's like first time home buyers, easily 1.5 or more. And I'm like, man, that'd be cool because my first time home buyers are still around that 400,000 price point. So I think just, barrier of entry price points is cool. But yeah, I think I love being along the coast. And I think for me, just also understanding what is involved with like each market, waterfront, vacation industry, relocation,
Right.
like there's just so much here, so many opportunities, but I don't know. It'd be kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
cool to get the $10 million buyers every once in a while.
Totally. Well, that's fun. Yeah, I don't know much about your price points. That's good to know, right?
Yep.
So you talk every time I've had a chance to, whether Sharon's bringing you on or you're having a chance, this pursuit of something is this unicorn marketing, right? And it keeps coming up and I love it. It's catchy. But can you kind of
Thank you.
explain to me what you mean by that and why you think that has been so like impactful for you right now?
Yeah. So actually, since you mentioned Sharon, I'll give a little bit of background. Just was that one of my first conversations with him, because his kids are the same age as my kids.
Mm,
He was just sharing how his daughter is really into unicorns. So he worked with her to kind of start up the 1,000 Unicorn business that they have online. It's together, and that's an opportunity for him to teach her business, and then also for them to spend quality time together. And I just so resonated with that, because that, I mean, for many of us who have parents and we're working, it's like, how do you do both? Well, that's one of the ways. You bring them in on the business, you help them be involved in the business, you find things that are, interesting for both your kids and you. So that resonated with me a lot. And my daughter too, who's also 10, loves unicorns, because most little girls do.
hmm.
And for some reason that just kind of lingered in the back of my head for a long time. And as I've learned and had more experience on the video marketing and the content side, as I've been trying to brand myself as a video, as a creator, I'm like, I find that I am constantly looking at things like, how can I do things differently? How can I stand out? I don't want to do what everyone else is doing. I want to do the complete opposite of what everyone else is doing. And I still see that today. I'm so ultra aware of content out there, because it is all the same freaking thing, the same hook, the same script, the same video, the same edit, the same cut. It's boring to me. So
Yeah.
I just kind of thought, like, unicorns stand out. They're different, they're unique, they're rare. I want to emulate that type of mentality when it comes to both my business and my content creation. So that's kind of how the two connected.
So for you, when it was content creation, we all feel this like need to do that, right? We're like, it's social media world now. There's a way to get
Yeah.
out. There's a exposure, growth, reach, engagement. So was it like I was bored with my own content at first because it felt mundane and it was time to say, if I'm going to do this at all, it has to feel like it's different? Or was it like, no, right out the get-go, there was something about maybe your creative style that was like was already becoming a unicorn style? Can you walk me through that? Because I know so many agents struggle, right? They're like, they'll see your stuff and they're like, oh my God, like I can't think that way. Or I don't, where'd she come up with that idea? Or, and people worry like, could I ever do this? Is this truly for me? Can you give me a little backstory on that, or your take on it, I guess?
Yeah, no, that's such a good question. I found that my best way to communicate is through video. I am not a writer. I'm not a blogger. I mean, I'll use Chat GPT all day long to write my blogs for SEO purposes, but that's not like my best form of communication. How to tell stories, how to get my point across, how to communicate and engage with people is through video. I'm not an eloquent speaker. I'm not, I'm not going to write a long ass email. I just like to get to the point and get my point across and connect. And so what actually learning more about video content is exactly that. Like, how can you be short, direct, give them a good hook, capture their attention, and tell them what you want to tell them? So that's also allowed me to, and I've always been doing video. I'd say from day one, once I started, I was actually going through my Instagram all the way through my feed. And man, there's some cringe. Like, if you ever bored and you scroll through, like, there's some very cringy videos that I was doing very early on, terrible, just with by myself or somebody hold the phone for me. And but I've always done it. I was never afraid to be on camera. I was never afraid to put myself out there. I'm super vulnerable. I have no shame. I'll try anything once. So
Yeah.
that's just something that I was fine to put myself out there. But by improving and making changes and just learning over time, I've been able to make it a lot tighter. And then also, like, market message match whatever my intention is, whatever my audience is, whatever my message is. It's all connected and very clean now. And that's a skill that I've had to learn and educate myself and practice on and form a team around, so that we're constantly, going through the system and the process when we're creating each piece of content now. So it has evolved. It's been 5 or more years of creating video, and it was bad, and it's getting better, and I'm still learning, but it's just my best way of being able to communicate with my audience, my followers or subscribers.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, you said something that I always, yeah, so it's like not everybody has that almost like comfortableness to be vulnerable and to throw it out there, right? I
Mhm.
mean, as you've been coaching and helping people through this, I bet you probably get more of the people that are shy and
Yeah.
not kind of like I'll just do it. I'll just give it a try, and then you have to like pull this out of them. So my question was like, can anyone do unicorn marketing, or is this really like, is this selective to more of the extroverts, the people that are okay to just throw spaghetti at the wall?
Yeah.
And then because there's a lot of ways to build this business, right?
Mhm. Yeah. And actually that's like, so I teach the course in Real Academy, the video marketing content. Actually next Friday is our fourth or fifth class. And every class I take a poll of, the attendees and I'm like, what do you connect with the most? Like, what are the reasons? Because it's the same reasons as to why people don't take action on video or don't want to start. It's either they're camera shy, they don't like being on video. Okay, that's one thing I can address. It's I don't have the money or time to hire a videographer. Okay, there's things I can address with that. So there's like a lot of commonality as to why people don't do things. But what I train on a lot is nobody said you had to be on camera to create video content. Like you do not have to be the face. There's so many different ways of doing it. There's voiceover, there's B-roll, there's beauty videos, there's trends, there's hooks, there's transitions, there's so many different things to be creating content. So if someone just is insecure, doesn't like being on video, like I've had someone say, I don't like how my voice sounds. I have a unique accent and I don't like how it sounds. So I was like, man, I haven't had anybody have that concern before. They usually don't like how they look on camera, but I've never heard someone say they don't like how their voice sounds. So it's like everyone has their reason as to why they're not taking action. But at the end of the day, what I go back to is the same initial training every time. It has to be you are your brand and the brand is you, and it has to be authentic to you. So like it's not congruent for someone to create the same type of content that I am when we are like polar opposites when it comes to personality or character or location or whatever. Like that's why this whole like rip it off and duplicate nonsense, it will never work for people because it doesn't align with who they are. All of my content is built around my brand and who I am as a person. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a business owner, I'm an athlete, like all the things. I'm a veteran. So as long as I'm creating content around that sphere, it makes sense. So if you like hockey, if you have kids, if you like being on the lake, like if you have a fan, like whatever the things are important to you, that's what you should create content about. And that's the most natural, genuine way to do it, at least starting out. And then you could get into all like the fun, silly stuff. Like no one said you had to go, be an actor and I do
Totally.
some crazy stuff, but there's a lot of things you can do that's in your own comfort zone that will still be cool content to create. So many ideas.
We're going to send people to your stuff so they can see kind of your body of work for those that don't know
Yeah.
you. But like, what would be now that you've got this like machine running 4 or 5 years of video, and if they go to
Yeah.
your Instagram and they'll see all of what you've been putting out, can you give
Yes.
us a little breakdown of like the routine to get to this point? The thing that's crazy, because I know you've shared them many times to me and in your post to say, my girl and I just went and shot and we created 17 pieces of content and we did it in like 2 hours. So of course you're pretty dialed in. But what does
Yes.
that truly look like getting to that point? Can you give us a little breakdown of that?
So it's all preparation, right? So we won't go shoot video unless we've pre-gamed, like pre-planned. Like we will have Wednesday and Fridays are our marketing days. We usually shoot on a Friday and we spend office time together on a Wednesday. And during that Wednesday, it's the shot list, the
Mm,
location, the topic, the hook, the caption, the thumbnail. Like there's a formula.
yeah.
I'll gladly share that with anybody. Like there's a very specific formula and approach we take because if we don't do that part up front, we cannot be efficient on content day when we're out shooting and it's hot and we're sweaty and it's like you're miserable and you're not getting the lines right. So we do a lot of prep work before we ever go shoot. But there has to be intention behind it. And I think also, I mean, some people who hire a videographer, and I have videographers reach out to me all the time. They'll send me their package. They're like one long form piece and 3 short forms, and we'll spend 10 hours together, and it's $3,000. And I'm like, holy shit. And it's not because the price, It's because I'm not spending 10 hours with anybody for 3 pieces of content. What a tremendous waste of time. But you see a lot of these video companies out there, they're all in my market. They're doing the same thing. They're copying my stuff. That's cool, whatever. But like their process is like, we're just going to be on set all freaking day. And as a business owner, I don't have time for any of that. So if we don't, I'd rather spend time in the office doing the boring stuff, creating the spreadsheets and coming up with the hooks, and then going on shooting for 2 hours, way more efficient than spending, a half a day with somebody on set. So that's been
So are
our process.
you capturing ideas as you see them throughout the week, and then on that Wednesday you're doing a real good spitball with your video person? So it's
Yeah.
a collective group. So most people don't have that at their disposal. I know you and I know the team leaders have the funds generally for that. But like the average agent, um, to capture the idea that ideates, gets them to a spreadsheet, what are you looking for? Is it just like you see, like, I mean, maybe, yeah, what is it that like triggers a piece of content that might land into your little bubble of wellness? You know what I mean?
This is so good. This is so good. And this is actually the same thing that you just said. Not everybody has a videographer, and that's fine. But everybody has a circle of friends. Like
Hmm.
think of all the people on Instagram. Who are you sharing memes with? Sharon, like you have your little core group of friends that when you see a funny meme pop up, you're sharing them to people, right? My husband will send me some stuff. I have my girlfriends, my brother will send me some stuff. So we created a little like Instagram group. And whenever we see something funny pop up, and in our group, it's actually for women business owners, and we're all in different industries, beauty and maybe real estate and financial planner, whatever. And we will share funny reels that come up, and we'll say, hey, you can do this if you just put your own spin on it. Or, hey, this sound is trending really good right now. You should do a quick reel on this using that last, whatever. So we're constantly sharing ideas with each other. It's not even with our videographers. It's
Oh,
just
okay.
business to business. So it's just coming up, sharing ideas. And what's even more powerful is that my friends are not in real estate. So they're in different industries and they have access. They're getting put different content in front of their faces instead of us. You and I, all we see all day long is other realtors. And that's boring. So I'm constantly trying to change up my algorithms by searching fitness, hair care, jujitsu, because I want to see what trends are going on in their industries that I can use what's hooking or what sounds are performing, right? So that's a really something that we can all do very easily today, is just form your group, whether it's your husband, your spouse, your friend, just have them thinking of you when they see cool ideas come up. And then it's just putting your personal spin on it. And so the other part of it too is just having content readily available in your phone, like a library of B-roll that's just sitting in there.
Hmm.
So when you hear a cool sound or a cool trend, you can post it immediately because you don't have to go out and shoot it. It's already sitting there.
Is that it's funny, right? Every time I have a chance to speak to someone like you that has built a true business and a workflow around this, and then I sit beside a new agent that wants to put content out, and they're watching everybody. There's this massive disconnect on the work involved to get to
Yeah.
that point. It's
Yeah.
just like they believe that somehow it's like instantly I create this versus a full Wednesday setup, a group on Instagram, sharing constantly with each other. I put down crowdsourcing the ideas, right?
Yes.
Intentionally going through this week after week after week for years to know how quickly you can filter down to something that works for you and it's worth your time, Nicole, or is not. But again, that compared to the agent that just says, I just got to do content and is just thinking off the cusp, but they can come up with something. That's how it just becomes failure after failure, I would assume, right?
Yes, because their expectations are that it's going to go viral.
Yeah.
And when no one even looks at it or comments or engages, then they get frustrated and they quit or they stop.
Gotcha.
So there's like so many aspects of it, right? And it goes back to you have to do the work and anything to have success or see something produced or come to fruition. The other thing I was going to add to, just to add to your list, is we have a shared notes app and a shared drive, a Google Drive folder. So all day, every day, if I am driving down the road or I'm in the shower or I can't sleep at night and I just think of something, I write that down. And I'm like, just a constant list of ideas and hooks that if we can't think of something creative, because sometimes they're just not in the right creative mind to do something, I go back to that list and it's all sitting there for me. So it doesn't have to be so regimented. It could be something where you're just out and about and you think of a cool idea, you just jot it down for the future.
Totally. I mean, it's the next level beyond. We should be documenting our stuff anyways as we're going, and it's just those agents that need that moment to just pause and at least story share. You get
Yes.
that habit, this next habit starts to become a little easier, right?
Yes, because I can edit, like anyone can edit. If you're a good storyteller and you do one deal, there's a story,
Yeah.
whether the deal was a shit show or like, it fell apart or it closed or you did a remote showing or whatever it was. There's a story between every single deal. So if you can formulate the words to explain the situation, you can edit it and chop it up and make it look amazing. But you got to like at least have some intention behind it and storytelling. And anyone can do that. And it's just learning skills to tighten it up. But I just feel like people have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And so whether that's through the structure, like the process that I have or others have, or just at least coming up with some ideas that are, genuine to yourself, that's the easiest way to get started.
So you've had some things go viral, and then you've had some stuff that just steady Eddie and like normal likes and views and
Totally.
inspiration where, and again, does any of that matter to you? Is it just more like, tell me about that?
Yeah, actually, I was just looking through my feed today because I had several that 600,000 views and 5,000 shares or 10,000 shares or whatever, and then yet I'll post something like I posted yesterday and it's only like 1,500 views. But I also know like not every piece of content is going to be that rock star, amazing
Yeah,
unicorn content. But it's also the consistency is just as important as as that creative idea. It,
yeah,
it has to be every single day, like clockwork, automated, everything. So I'm okay if I put a piece of content out and it's not like, a banger. It's okay.
sure.
But I'm out there. So, and people do find me because what happens is you're scrolling through your feed, you see an awesome video, you click on it. A lot of people are going to click on the profile to see who is this person. They go to the feed and it's like, oh, she has some really cool videos on there. Let me follow her. So it doesn't even matter if you don't put out like amazing content every single time, but a couple of them will eventually pop off. And that's when you start to really start, going viral.
Is is your internal reasoning for doing this to reach more people, or is it to just connect with those that already know you and trust you and in your way? Like, what is priority one or two for you on this?
Ideally it's to connect with my organic people, like my local community, right? Because listen, I make money selling houses. I'm not making money posting all these videos yet. Eventually I'm going to figure a way to do that. But like I make money selling homes. So I just, and Sharon reminds me of this all the time because I do get frustrated sometimes because I'm like, man, that amazing video came out and it's not like anybody called me to go sell their house,
Totally.
but it's just time on brand. It's just consistently building my brand and it's like I don't want to stop because I sometimes, Darren, like I don't even realize this, but I'll go to a broker's open and I will walk in and like people know me and I don't know who they are. And
Yeah.
and it reminds me like, they're like, oh my God, Nicole, how's it going? Like big hug and kiss. And I'm like, I don't know your name, but they follow me. And then they build that parasocial relationship. They think we know each other. We comment a little bit. And it's like, oh, this is what building a brand is. They know me. They think they are friends with me and they associate me to video
Totally.
content. And I'm like, well, that's why I'm doing this, right? So, and there's a lot of different, whether it's agent referrals or agent
Totally.
attraction or whatever it is, there's so many different ways. But at the end of the day, I just remind myself it's all about brand, it's all about discovery, it's validating the business that I have. I don't know about you, but if I connect with someone, the first thing I do is I Google them and I want to look at all their social platforms.
Yeah.
So I want them to know who I am and get a inside, a little inside baseball on, my personality and stuff.
I love that you said that because again, the people listening, the people up on podcasts getting asked to be on stages and stuff, like you see it, you think immediately, okay, they've got it dialed in. they must be, it's all about the reach now. It's all about mass new lead flow. And it's like, sure, that comes, but in
Yeah.
reality, you're still using this platform and your ability to tell and communicate, like you said, best on video. That's your style. To the people that are organically in your circle, anyways, it's never been easier to be in front of the people that like and trust us.
Mhm.
And you're here kind of on the top level of video content creation, still leaning back to that level. And of course, and I hope people that are listening that want to do better at this realize that, again, that's mission critical number one, friends.
Yes.
It's not to just go in growth, because that people think social, think growth. And I had the same conversation yesterday, but it's a theme, it's a thread that all of us who do this more get it, but those that are trying to climb the ladder, they don't. They think there's like something else on the other end of this.
And listen, I'll be super transparent. It's when I have I'm at 11,700 followers right now. Does it feel good? Yes, of course. It's a vanity thing. Like when I want to get to 12,000. Why? I don't know, because why not? Like who
Right.
doesn't
Yeah.
a lot of followers, right? It makes you feel good, of course. But when I look at the analytics on there and I see that like half of the people who follow me are not even in Florida, I'm like, all right, so like half of my audience who is eating up share like algorithms, right? Like, so my organic people here in Jupiter may not be seeing my content because all of these people in like different states are getting visibility of it, right? They're overshadowing the visibility to my local people. So does that really help me? Not really. I mean, like, I think there's, of course we want to grow. Of course we want more followers and stuff. But again, at the end of the day, I do video for three reasons. One, I want to buy or a seller. I want to sell a house. Two, agent referrals. You have a client in Florida, think of me. Three, agent attraction. And that's just because of Real Broker, right? And
Yeah.
building my team recruiting. So every piece of content, I have to hit one of those three pillars, whether it's educational or just a funny, spoof on realtors, because those always go viral because we're
Yes.
terrible apparently, or referrals. And so I've been doing, what I learned is that I lacked in the bucket of agent referrals. So now I just shot 4 videos talking about storytelling about agent referrals, where, for example, someone gave me a referral from out of state and I did a great job for them. And I shared the video on how the process went and why people should use me as a referral agent for Florida. So like, I got to do more of that if that's what I want in return. So
Yeah.
it's just like thinking of, why are you putting out content? What are your expectations back? And just kind of, doubling down on the intention.
Is there a certain style you've put out, if we play back to the sphere, the organic people that you have, your locals, that have created the best engagement back to you, where there's just like when because again, if it's an agent funny thing, it's like agents are commenting, right? But
Yeah.
like, is there something that you've done that consistently, your people are coming out and be like, damn, you're good, Nicole, or giving you DMs? Is there a certain style that lands better than others?
I think it is entertainment. I think it's the funny stuff. I mean,
Love it.
think of it, the non-realtor who's watching us, they're following all these other realtors. It's the same boring home tour. So unless I can do something engaging or funny about the house, then they're not going to watch it. So it has to be funny, different, entertaining. It has to be relatable. So if I'm shooting video about like some kitchen, then, I have to make it in a funny way. Like I did the hidden pantry video that went viral, where it's like, if I had a hidden pantry, I would hide in here from my kids because I'm trying to take calls from my clients and they're screaming outside. Like, that's relatable, right? Me showcasing the pantry, like, that would be so boring. No one cares about how many shelves and the built-in custom cabinets. Like, that's boring. But what's funny is, me hiding in there with my kids screaming when I'm on the phone. So like, that's the type of stuff. And I do find, like, when I really do an autopsy of what I created, people love to see me as a mom, as a wife, as just, chaos, and just being a local person here in Jupiter, Florida. They want to see what I'm doing, where I'm going, how I'm spending my time outside of real estate, because they want to know me as the human Nicole, not as the real estate robot that, is just scripted. So I try to be a lot more authentic with what I put out.
Yeah, and I love it. I mean, it's like yeah, I hope people listening get that. It's just so important. So are you now, when we do these, I'm the same. I do a lot of like most of my clientele is luxury listings, and I've been doing
Yes.
video for a decade now too. So you get better at the messaging, you get better at the storytelling, you tell a better video tour,
Yeah.
and they're good, but they're still kind of like, okay, it's just another one of those styles. So are you slowing down within that long form video process to say, where's a few key moments like the hidden pantry to
Yeah.
go, I'm creating a funny play off of this that of course is going to help with the home, but is that what you're doing now? You're taking a little think moment and then you're creating
So
some short form specifics.
yeah, so it's such a good question. I realize going macro to micro is the most efficient way of doing it. So we will shoot long form. Well, so if we're gonna do a community spotlight, like I did 3 community spotlights last week, 3 different neighborhoods, towns, and stuff. I mean, I could have shot hundreds of reels, but for me, I am trying to build out my YouTube channel. So that's also a different initiative, which is so different from short form. But we're
Totally.
going macro. So we'll go to a community. We should, I'll do an 8-minute long form video on the community. And then as she's editing it, she'll be like, okay, which of these, in the 8 minutes, which of these areas do you want me to make into a short for you? And so we do the whole long form, and then we'll chop it up into little pieces. Now, if we're on site and there's something just hilarious that I can make a separate reel about that's a vertical, then we'll just flip the camera and shoot something just legit short. But we are taking the approach when we're going, our intention is to create long form. We're just going macro to micro and then cutting it up and editing it. So that's been our process lately.
Actually, I hadn't even thought about that. I've done the community spotlights, the business spotlights, and I think people that are getting into for the long form are doing, of course, everybody wants to say, I'm going to do more of this.
Yes,
But
but
they're
think
all those micro clip moments are,
hours and hours of long form content. Like you already have all the gems.
yeah,
You send that to an editor, 3 reels per long form, easy.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
little pieces, they chop it up. So you're just reusing and repackaging it. And that's going to save you time. You don't have to be on camera at all. They're
totally.
just, you
Yeah,
know, re-
and then with the voiceover tools now and all the fun stuff, I love this kind of like community spotlight clips that
yes.
that just had never even crossed my mind, to be
Your
honest. It's
small
just,
business spotlights, like we do a lot. That's the local aspect of it too, that influencer style, like local businesses. How do
yeah,
we support our local community? Like I'm a small business. How can I support you? How can you support me?
yeah. Yeah, when I started doing all those long form ones, it was 3 to 6 minute videos. We did great pieces, but it was pre short form. And I'm not out there doing that, but for the agents that are, I love that direction. That's pretty cool. Are you also using video in your database client touch points and your transactional elements in the business when you're going through that? Are you doing that too?
I have some stuff automated, like I built out the transaction process from our initial, like before we have our buyer consult, kind of how to prepare. I'm looking forward to meeting with you. We're starting our journey. We're under a contract, like kind of like the automated preset video. So I have built that out and tied that in with my CRM as, action plans. Probably need to update those a little bit because they're from a couple of years ago. But I'll use video text to just communicate with clients all the time. Hey, I'm outside. I just want to let you know, like this is the house we drove by, like whatever. So, and I think people feel, I think there's an extra level of connection when they have a face and a voice that they can look at, and just there's a trust aspect of that too. So
Okay.
and again, I rather do that than write a long text or an email. It's just for me, it's more efficient. So see a little even selfish of me because that's just how I prefer to communicate. And it's quick and easy.
Yeah, unbelievable. The tone we can get across, the
Yes.
mannerisms, and I mean, I do think there's so much around social video creation that we forget there's all these little moments within the transaction that creates the client experience that should
Yes.
probably be looked at too. And they can be a little more evergreen as well, some of the pieces, like you said, or
Yeah.
they can just be just literally voice notes, video text as you're going, right?
I'm all about the voice notes. Yes.
So you're not you're an advocate for playing into the trends a little bit and like what's hot out there. There's a time sensitivity to that.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, but is that for the beginner or is that for maybe when you're seasoned and you've got a cadence?
I think for those, because you have to jump on them so quick, it would probably be a little stressful for someone who doesn't have like an editor who could quickly, or if you're really good at CapCut or you're really quick on TikTok or Instagram and you can make your own, cool. But for people who are like, oh, I'm like what's trending right now, all those transition
Yeah,
clips where like, and they're played out now. Like, how many times do I have to see someone get splashed with water in the face? Like, it's over. It lasted for 2 weeks, if that. You can't do it anymore. It's too old. Like the falling in the pool stuff, that was like 2 years ago. That's not funny anymore. Like, no one cares about seeing a realtor accidentally fall into a pool. It's boring. So, I feel like you got to jump on that really quick, early. And the way of doing that is, yes, you probably should have an editor, but then also having content already in your library ready to post, like all your B-roll stuff just sitting there.
totally. I found myself whenever I jump on a trend, it's one of those where like something's funny happening. Somebody's put a little like two or three texts on top of it, and I just
Uh-huh.
like overlay my text related to like making fun of realtors, right? You
Yes.
know what I mean? Or like and that's it. It's like it takes me 7 seconds to do it. So
Yeah.
I do save them as I go, and then I
It's good.
go back to them, and then I just again, I don't believe I'm that very funny, but sometimes a spark hits, and it's just like give it a try. Uh,
Yes, like
right.
the one that you did with the girl, the little
Dancing, yeah.
dancer. I love that video. And yeah, if you can quickly just put your hook on it, do it. But you got to do it like quick. You got to act fast.
Totally.
Yeah.
So your favorite, like, so you got the editor, but you're doing stuff yourself too. You know, what's your favorite like on the go moment, like tool set that you're using right now?
I mean, I'm always on stories because I feel like on Instagram you got to keep the stories rolling. So I do a lot of just documenting on that, and I intentionally sprinkle in it's a day in the life. So like people are doing these reels that are like a day in the life and all that stuff, but it's
Right.
like, okay, that might be one day out of three. Like that's not really a day in the life. Day in the life is like I'm at the gym. Now I'm taking my kids to school. Now I'm taking the dog for a walk. Like that, I feel like stories, that's a lot more authentic because it's like in the moment. It deletes in 24 hours. Like this is legit what I'm doing. I'm not posting an old video and saying I'm doing it today. So I think that there's a lot of, and that creates a lot of engagement too, because it's like I'll go to a new restaurant, take a picture of it, and then people are like, "Hey, how was it? I've been wanting to go." And then you're just in DMs talking to people, right? So I really like focusing on the stories. And then all of my videos, I have my guy posting it every single day at the same time, 7 o'clock Eastern time every day. So I've
7 at night or
automated
7 in the morning?
at night,
Oh,
7
7 at night.
p.m. 7 at night. Yeah. And I've just found that over time, whether the algorithm has just adapted to when we do it, or that's just when they prefer I post. But there's times where I post at 6 and I just don't get the same views. So
Right.
we've just stuck with the 7 p.m. and that's been working for us.
Interesting. So the day in the life
Yeah.
stuff, realtors, we're interesting, right? Because we have some time freedom, right? And then you see
Yes.
the post in the gym and I'm fit and I'm in here. Is that us bragging, or how do you do that in a way that you're not like, hey, I just like crushed another, superset, and like where it's like
Yeah.
authentic and not like, have you found that journey? Because you do see stuff like this, and I wonder how our consumers receive this, how our clients receive it, and is it like, yeah, it'd be nice that I'm not at a desk, or how do you get across where that is authentic, or am I just overthinking it?
No, and I think it's a great point and a great question. And I think here's what I always do. I have my other little core group of friends who, not even the business people, just like my mom friends, my mom girlfriends. And I'll check in with them every once in a while. And we have
Mhm.
a relationship where we're honest with each other. Like, hey, like, what's your take on some of this stuff? Like, what do you think? Like, is it too in my face? Is it too in your face? Is it like, am I sharing too much, or did you not, was this off, was the vibe off, did I feel like too showboaty on this one? And I asked them for brutal honest feedback, and I just have some good friends who are willing to say it like it is and don't sugarcoat. So they've kept me in check a little bit. My husband is the first to tell me if he doesn't like how something comes across, so I always listen with ears open for him. But
Half
I think
closed kind
it's
of ears, yeah. Yeah.
but it has to be a non-realtor perspective because we're
Yes.
so in our own worlds. It's crazy. But I think it's a good point, and I think there is a fine line of I'm full of myself content. Look at me versus. But I feel like if it's done with intention, like what's the message? Like a day in the life. What is the message behind that? Is it like look at me I'm out in my pretty car and I'm showing pretty houses and I got my nails done? Or is it day in the life, I get up at 4, I'm at the gym, I got all this shit done before you ever woke up, right? I'm out cleaning my clients' bathroom before professional pictures are taken. Like, I want to showcase what a real day in the life looks like, and it's not always pretty. So I think it just has to be intention and the messaging that you want to come across. And when it's not thought of, then that's when I think we get in trouble and we start coming across as, just a little arrogant or a little cocky or whatever.
Totally. I love that. Just like, again, the check-in friend group, the honest
Yeah.
feedback, the out of industry, because you ask your realtor friends and be like, oh yeah, it's okay, it's okay. Right. And
Yeah.
I ask my agents when I'm commenting them, I'm going to be pretty direct. When I see you post something, I'm going to tell you, like, remember I told you that we should probably not be doing this. Right. And
Yes.
it's like, I think we need more of that because we're all in
Yep.
our own little heads. And this is new. I was on a podcast, I was hosting Heather Parody. And she
Wow.
mentioned, she's like, this is a new world of weird that nobody's experienced. All of a sudden, we can put in everything out to the world. And it's like, of course, this is weird for all of us. And I was like, that's an incredible frame because it's like,
Yes.
it is weird. Like, this is different. Like, this never happened 20 years ago and never happened in the history of the world. Right. So,
No, no, my parents are still not on, so they
yeah.
refuse to be on social media. They don't even see, I mean, someone will send them my videos, but they have no idea what I'm doing. So
Oh,
they,
totally.
they would be lost. But yeah, it is. And for the younger generation, this is just how they're living. There's no even thought behind it. So everything is out there. Which again, like maybe some people might say, I want to keep my personal stuff to myself. And cool, I respect that. I do think though that people want to see a little bit under the curtains. They want to see behind, the facade. They want to get to know you as the human, and that is going to help build the connection for future clients. So I think just keeping that
I
in
couldn't
mind. They can't
imagine
be.
following somebody. I couldn't imagine, sorry to cut you off, following somebody in real estate who didn't show me themselves because you would like the length of
Yeah.
time between a buyer buys again and if you want them to stay in your world watching you, if you're just talking real estate, good, there's a very good chance they're unfollowing you and they're gonna find somebody who will entertain and show their personality a bit, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I friend request all of like I want them to
Totally.
see my comments, and I love their feedback. And some of them may not like some of the stuff I do, but it's still a touch point. And I'll put, like, if I have a really good viral video, I will send it out like in a weekly newsletter email, like, hey, this one went viral, just thought you might be entertained. And then I'll put that out there. So I mean, and then also I'm an open book. I'm super transparent. So I welcome it all. I have thick skin. I don't get flustered. So I could take it. But some people who might be a little, you know, not that way, they got to be a little bit more cautious of what they put out. But to each
That
his
speaks a
own.
lot to what you just said. I'll send the good ones out in my database email. And that
Yeah.
means because you are truly speaking to them like friends, to like sphere,
Yes.
and that you're open to that. And I love that because so many people would be like, they treat this database as this like airy fairy thing that it doesn't have a connection. And what you just said means that you truly feel that close to them, that you're like, yeah, yeah, I would send this to my buddy like a meme almost.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, it's the same, it's that same format of like deal a week format, like just
Totally.
very direct, how you would talk to a friend, because those are the emails that get opened and read anyway. So I feel like the less is more, and I don't like to write anyway. So it like works perfectly, really.
Totally. I love it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what would be, I could ask you a ton of stuff, but we're gonna be near the end here.
Yeah.
What's next in your content journey? Like, what is it like? And you've perfected a lot of things, and you're so humble enough to say that you're working through it, but you've really landed on a great framework and you're doing great. So cool stuff. Where do you see your content journey going? Is it focused now? Let me build up the long form stuff. Just tell me a little bit about the next move for you.
Yeah, I long form is definitely becoming a priority, and then also doing just a little bit more of influencer style content to really tap into the local market. So
Yeah.
I love the growth, I love the big audience, but we've talked about this. Every agent wants to be the mayor of their town. I want that as well. I want my brand to be a local known, known locally. So I want to just keep pushing on that and partnering with other businesses. I love working with other small businesses, especially women-owned businesses. That's part of my brand as well. I have an all-women's team. So it's just very easy for me to connect with that. And then it's just very, it's reciprocal. And I like the whole business model behind that. I don't know. I started doing a little bit of coaching on video marketing, so I want to build that out a little bit as well. But the long form, I think YouTube is where even Google YouTube, like that's where I'm seeing a lot more business opportunities come through. So I really want to double down on the long form and try to get some more. I have all of our friends who are generating like so many leads through their long form content. So I gotta figure out how to make that work for me a little bit
Totally.
better.
I love it. Yeah. So like Nicole, yes, Nicole teaches within our Real Broker Real Academy about this. She does a social media audit. You can go when you go to her
Yeah.
at her Instagram, and it's at Nicole Stanbra, so Stanbra. You can go onto her link and go on her bio, and please go through this stuff. For those of you that are like looking for the course. I think you have something rolling out on the 28th as well in June. Is that right?
Yep. So that will be our next one. I'm actually having the surprise guest who was my videographer editor. So Mariana will be on the call with me because I've had so many people asking questions about how to edit and her process. So she's joining me on the call, and that's gonna be huge. That'll be a really good one.
Amazing. So, yeah, so go follow her. Go kind of like go through the stuff, reverse engineer some of her stuff, and just say, okay, where do I find my voice within the styles? And yeah, it's just so awesome to watch you. Every time you post something, I'm all over it, and I'm excited to connect again. Are you going down to Vegas this year?
Yes, I will be there. I will look forward to seeing you. I'm very excited about that. That will be a good one.
All right. Well, like I said, I had another whole page of notes, but we're going to cut her short for sake of time and everybody. But Nicole, it was so fun to have you. Super informative. I think a lot of people will get a ton out of this. Is the
Thank you.
best place to find you on Instagram? Is that where did we
Yes.
start? Okay.
Definitely Instagram. I monitor DMs all the time. So it's my preferred platform, and I'm always responsive on that.
Amazing. Yeah. So go find her stuff, take part in what she's putting out there to the world. This has been another Reeducation Experience podcast, friends. Thanks for listening. Share this forward because there's a lot of great information. Drop us a review, and we'll catch you again next time. I always like to say now, let's build a business that stands the test of time, not simply reacts to the changes that are thrown our way every day. So thank you, Nicole, again. It was a pleasure having you. We'll
Thank
talk
you.
to you again soon.
Appreciate it. Okay, sounds good.